It's the Scotty Myers Show.
Hey, welcome to this week's episode of the show. Hopefully, you are having a fantastic week so far. I've been having a really good one. Of course, Comic-Con was last weekend, so tons of news for us to discuss about that, and we will get to that a little later on. I want to thank everybody for the uptick in ratings and reviews that we got on all the great podcast platforms out there. It's definitely helping, so keep that going if you can. If you haven't given us a rating or review yet, please do so. And getting into it, I also had a question this week. Somebody sent me an email, and they were talking about mental health. And they're like, we've heard a few in the episodes. You've talked about your mental health situation and some of the things that you do to help fight back against the depression. And they were pointing out first, like the exercise thing. And they were kind of curious, like what all I do, because I can't run every day. I know some people do, but I don't enjoy it that much. I like running, but not every day. So basically, the one thing that I haven't really discussed on here, because I've talked about running, I've talked about going to the flat out gym. I love doing spin classes. They're a great sweat and really get your mind going. Of course, I lift some weights. Yes, I lift, bro. But, I do that. And the other thing I throw in there is yoga. And when I say that, most people go, oh, that makes sense, yoga. But I don't do normal yoga. I tried normal yoga, found it a little boring. I know it's more good for stretching and flexibility, but I just didn't get normal yoga. And way back when I started doing exercise, not even so much for the mental health benefit, but I was just trying to lose some weight. I stumbled across DDP Yoga, Diamond Dallas Page, the wrestler. And he's got a yoga program. It's absolutely fantastic. So that's the yoga that I do. And that's the one that I recommend to most people just because you sweat during it as well. It's not just a nice, gentle, relaxing yoga. There's some push-ups and whatnot in there as well. So it's a little bit of an ass-kicking yoga. It's not even like DDP says, it's not really just yoga. It's DDP yoga, so it's a whole different beast, and it kind of is. I've been to a few regular yoga classes, and it's definitely different. So if you're looking for something to add in, but I find that helps me a lot, check it out. There's an app. That's the best way to do it. There were DVDs. I think they still do DVDs, but the app is great because they're constantly updating it. So that's pretty much my workout routine, and I'm working out 4 to 5 times a week. Back a couple of years ago, I was doing 6 days a week, but I found that was almost too much. I was kind of taxing my body a little bit too much there. So for me, the 4 to 5 times works really well and helps keep the depression at bay as best as it can, but it still has days where it dominates. I had a day earlier this week where it didn't matter what I did. I was losing the battle that day. It was just one of those days, but kind of soldiered through it. I'm lucky I'm at a point now where I can recognize those days, and really I only got there thanks to therapy and whatnot, which is a whole other piece of the puzzle of treating the depression and that I battle. But the question in particular was about the workout routine, and the only thing I hadn't mentioned was the DDP yoga. It's not a paid advertisement. I just think it's a kick-ass program that, if you're looking to add something a little different to your workout regimen, check it out. So one of the bigger stories of the week since we've last talked, Baseball Hall of Fame. They inducted their new class of Hall of Famers. It was a big one, too. Mariano Rivera, Edgar Martinez, Mike Mussina, Lee Smith, and Harold Baines and Roy Halladay all going into the Hall of Fame. And I checked out a good chunk of the Hall of Fame ceremony. I love baseball. I love the Hall of Fame. I've been there a couple times. It's amazing to see the history of the game. And Roy Halladay's widow, Brandy, delivered an absolutely amazing, tear-jerking tribute to her late husband, who was an absolutely phenomenal pitcher, very deserving. of his spot in the Hall. The entire class was really the only issue that I had with anybody going in was Mariano Rivera. And not that I don't think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Definitely one of the best, if not the best closer of all time. The only issue I have with his induction is that he is the first player ever to be unanimously inducted into the Hall of Fame. And the only reason I have a bit of an issue with that is if some of the greats of the past, like Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Jackie Robinson, if those people were not worthy of a unanimous induction into the Hall of Fame, I don't think anybody is. I just don't think anybody deserves that honor if those guys didn't get that honor. But Mariano did. Hell of a ball player, deserving of his spot in the Hall. So congrats to him. The thing that I noticed about this year's Hall of Fame induction was a lot of the conversation around the induction was not about the players. It was about baseball itself. And how do you fix baseball? Because it's starting to lag behind. It's already dropped behind football and basketball pretty much. And it continues to kind of lag in ratings and lag in coverage. People seem to have a little bit of a lesser interest in baseball nowadays. And I'm no genius. I'm not a marketing wizard or anything like that. I just happen to love the game of baseball. So for free, if you guys want to shoot me some, swag or something as payment, I'll take it. But I'm going to fix baseball right now. And all it is two things. One of them I know will never happen, but it is needed for the game. The first thing it needs is a salary cap. And the main reason why I say that is if you're a fan of a small market team, Tampa Bay Rays, Kansas City Royals, I'm an Oakland Athletics fan. They're a small market team. You have a real hard time competing. You kind of have to draft well, hope a bunch of the kids hit the major league level at the same time, are good at the same time, and then you have this 2-3 year window where you've got young talent not hitting the free agent market, but they're all good. And then slowly but surely those pieces fall away because the larger markets can afford to give them contracts that the small markets can't. So it's hard to stay invested as a fan of a small market ball team because you're constantly in this cycle of being shitty and being good for a couple of years and then back to being shitty for 5, 6, 7 years and then maybe you get another 2 years of being good. That's hard for a fan base to go through. So a salary cap would help big time, but I don't think that'll ever happen just because the players union has so much power. But if the players wanted to preserve the game, I think that would be the thing to do. The other thing is Major League Baseball has to start promoting the players, not just the game and the history of the game. Some 10-year-old kid doesn't give a rat's ass about Joe DiMaggio. He cares about Aaron Judge or Mookie Betts or any of the great young ball players that are playing baseball right now. The problem is baseball doesn't promote those players. Like when you look at the NFL, you can name players, right? Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. The NFL does a really good job promoting individual players in a team game because then people become fans of that player and they either stay with that player and follow him if he moves in his career, or they just become fans of the team that he plays for his whole career. Baseball's not doing a good job of that. They have a lot of great young ball players that a passive fan has never heard of because they're not marketing the player. And I think that would go a real long way to getting people back into the game. Because the two sports that are doing it very well, football and basketball, are having massive booms. Whereas the two sports that don't market players very well, baseball and hockey, struggling a little bit. So there you go. 2-point plan to fix baseball. Salary cap and market your players better. You're welcome, Major League Baseball. If you want to make me commissioner next time the job's open, I'll take it. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we got a ton of trailers over the weekend because it was San Diego Comic-Con, the biggest comic convention in the world. And we're going to talk about a little bit more in-depth Comic-Con news when we get into the Geek News segment. But a couple of trailers that dropped really aren't super geeky, but they were worth talking about just because people are excited about them. The first one is for the Mr. Rogers biopic starring Tom Hanks, Won't You Be My Neighbor? And you couldn't get a better guy to play Mr. Rogers than Tom Hanks. Everybody loves Tom Hanks. And some people were saying as soon as they saw the trailer, they were like, you know what, just give him the Oscar now. He's going to win it for this one. And it was, like I say, super smart casting that they went with Tom Hanks. He wasn't the only guy that auditioned. I got some connections out in California. The show does very well out there. And I managed to get my hands on some audio of some of the other notable people that went in to read for the role of Fred Rogers. And after you listen to this, I think you'll agree they made the right choice with Tom Hanks.
All right, time to find our first Mr. Rogers. First up, Clint Eastwood.
I just got one question. Do you feel lucky, King Friday?
Whoa. Back it down a notch. Could you be more friendly, Mr. Eastwood?
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, guess not. All right, next up, we have Jerry Seinfeld.
Won't you be my neighbor? What's the deal with being a neighbor?
Never mind. We'll call you. Next is, send in Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You're a funny guy, McFeely. That is why I'll kill you last.
Terrible. Just terrible. Next!
Hi there, Henrietta Pussycat. Who's got your belly? I don't know if we can ride the trolley, but I got some shopping carts we can go ripping around in.
All right, let's see who's left. Seth Rogen. Ryan Reynolds.
Okay, guys, let's get out there and make a difference.
Listen, can we just call Tom Hanks?
As I said, Tom Hanks, the 100% right choice for that role. The other trailer we got that's not too super geeky was the Top Gun 2 trailer, Top Gun Maverick. And a very cool looking trailer. Lots of questions raised by it. Like, one, how hasn't Maverick been promoted? They even asked that question in the trailer. But the trailer had everything we wanted out of a Top Gun trailer. It had beach volleyball. It had a lot of cool looking, flight scenes. So it does look like it's going to be an exciting movie, but everybody in it is definitely, a little bit older than they were back in the 80s when they made Top Gun. And of course, everybody knows the legendary song from Top Gun, Danger Zone, classic. And they've reworked it for the new movie. And they've made it kind of age appropriate with the characters. And again, through my connections in Hollywood, I managed to get a little snippet of the song. Have a listen. It's just as catchy as the original.
Where's my pills? Nurse! Time to take my medicine. Can't get stiff no more. Nurse! Early bird special. That is how we roll. Highway to the senior's home. Right into the senior's home. I think it's myself. Again. Food hurts to chew. I have to call the nurse to poo. Nurse! They used to call me Maverick. Now I drive slow in traffic. I wore cool sunglasses. Highway to the senior's home. Family left me in the senior's home. I rode a motorcycle. Now I ride a scooter. Oh, I'm coming, ghosts.
On to the off story of the week. Of course, the off story, something that as soon as you see the headline, you go, oh, for fuck's sakes. This one, big time, made me go offs. The headline, state bans the term veggie burger so meat eaters won't be confused. Just let that soak in for a second. The state of Arkansas is taking steps to protect meat eaters from the perils, the dangerous perils of accidentally eating a plant by banning the term veggie burger and also a bunch of other phrases for plant-based food substitutes. It's part of their new Truth in Labeling law. And this law prohibits food makers from labeling plant-based products as meat, milk, or any other term that has been used or defined historically in reference to a specific agricultural product. The law also bans labeling one plant-based product as a substitute for another. So an example of that would be cauliflower rice. It's not rice, it's cauliflower. The state representative, David Hillman, who authored the bill, says cauliflower rice and veggie burgers are terms designed to confuse consumers. He said the only way they can get people to try their product is to confuse them. Really? For the record, Hillman is a rice farmer, so he stands to benefit from a law that targets cauliflower rice. But here's the thing. I am not a vegetarian, okay? I love hamburgers, hot dogs, steak, chicken. I love meat. I don't think anybody is confused by the term veggie burger, thinking that it is not vegetables. It's actually right there before the burger part. It's like hamburger. I mean, ham, it's not really ham, but still, it's the meat part is up front. The vegetable part is up front. Cauliflower rice, you're right. It's not rice. It's a healthier option of small white kernels of something that you can put chicken on top of, make stir fry with, whatever you want. Again, when people see cauliflower first, it's going to take a special kind of stupid to not realize that that's cauliflower. Now, I understand we're talking about the state of Arkansas, and there is a special kind of stupid there in parts. I know there are some people that will probably be, well, would you look at here, Betty Joe Dawn? It's cauliflower rice. I wonder what that's made of. I bet you it's rice, and I bet you it tastes real funky. Let's try it. Oh, it's a veggie burger. No way that's got vegetables in it. I'm sure that's meat. Let's get it. You can't protect those people, okay? You just can't. So now, the companies that use the terms like veggie burger, cauliflower rice, anything like that, they are going to be fined up to $1,000 per offense. So if they print off, 100,000 boxes that say veggie burgers, each one's going to be a $1,000 fine, which is ridiculous. I don't know what they expect them to call these things. Could you call cauliflower rice cauliflower confetti? And then would that not confuse the party industry? And people would start throwing uncooked cauliflower at weddings. Might be a little bit more environmentally friendly. So maybe we should do that. Veggie burgers, do we call them plant pucks? I don't know. I'm just trying to think of some other name to prevent these companies from losing a bunch of money because some meat eaters are so afraid. They're going to be confused by the term burgers and rice. I just don't know what I'm going to eat. I might accidentally eat something healthy, and Lord knows after years and years of fried food and Mountain Dew, if I put anything healthy in this body, it's going to shut down. I need the government to step in and protect me. Otherwise, I just can't look after myself. I can't read the label. You knows I can't read. Come on. Protect me, government. Offs. Before we get into the exciting geek news of the week, we have some sad news to pass along. Rutger Hauer, brilliant actor who was in countless films, best known for his work in Blade Runner, but he's also in The Hitcher, which is phenomenal, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sin City, Batman Begins. He was on True Blood. And honestly, the list does go on and on and on. Rutger Hauer passed away at age 75. Truly one of the best bad guys on the screen. There was something that he could tap into that he felt menacing without having to do too much to be menacing. He just had that ability to do that. He had a documentary made about him in 2006 called Blonde Blue Eyes. And he talked about his acting career, and he said he turned down a lot of roles if they had no interest for him. He rarely accepted a role for the money. And then he said he might have only been brilliant in 2 or 3 films. And he didn't say all of the ones that he thinks were brilliant. The Legend of the Holy Drinker from 1988, that was one that he thought he was great in. I think of most every time I saw him in a film, I felt like I was going to get a solid performance out of that character. Even if the movie around him didn't live up to his performance, he was always solid. And, he just had that air about him that captivated the screen. So unfortunately, Rutger Hauer passed away at age 75. We will still get to see a couple things from him. One thing that's coming is a mini-series for the BBC, A Christmas Carol, where he'll be starring alongside Stephen Graham, Andy Serkis, Guy Pearce, Tom Hardy, and Rutger Hauer plays the ghost of Christmas Future in that, and that will be airing in December. Rest in peace, Rutger Hauer.
All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain.
On to the rest of the geek news. And of course, there's lots of it as we spin out of San Diego Comic-Con. So many big announcements, but the one that took everybody, I wouldn't say by surprise, but it caught everybody's attention, was Marvel revealing Phase 4. And there's quite a few interesting movies on the way for Phase 4. Not only movies, but TV shows as well. Now, we knew about these shows that were headed to the Disney streaming service, but now we kind of have an idea on where they fall. So Phase 4 is going to start officially on May 1st, 2020 with the Black Widow movie. Then in fall 2020, we get the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show on Disney+. November 6th of 2020 is when we'll get the Eternals film. That's followed by Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And that comes out February 12th, 2021. In 2021 in the spring, we get WandaVision, another Disney Plus show. That's followed by Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Interesting to see where that goes. That's May 7th of 2021. Spring of 2021, we get the Loki show on Disney Plus. Then summer 2021 on Disney Plus, they're doing a show called What If? It's going to be an animated show of key moments in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and what if things had gone differently. Fall 2021, we get the Hawkeye show on the Disney Plus service. And then November 5th, 2021, Thor, Love and Thunder. Now, there's a few of these projects I want to talk about in a little bit more depth. We're also getting Blade, and that I'm going to talk about in a little bit as well. But we'll start somewhat here with the Doctor Strange one, May 7th, 2021. They're billing that almost as a horror movie, which would be somewhat a first for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'll be curious to see how that plays out. It definitely could fit Doctor Strange very well, but I'll be curious to see how far they're going to go with it. The Loki show is the one that stands out to be the most interesting to me. I do kind of think it might be a mistake to drop these shows into Phase 4. It's going to be a lot of consumption for people, and if any of these shows falter and don't catch somebody's attention, that could kind of shake up all of Phase 4, to be honest. A couple other ones that jump out at me, obviously the What If show, that's animated. That's a gamble to me. A What If comic works in the comic book world. I'll be curious to see if they can translate that to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Thor, Love and Thunder, This is, I guess, a little bit of a spoiler warning, but Natalie Portman is coming back as Jane, and she will be Thor in the movie. Just as like kind of what happened in the comic books. So be curious to see how that will play out on the big screen. It definitely has piqued my interest more for that Thor movie. And then with Blade, this is where I get a little concerned on two fronts. One, we've had a Blade trilogy already, and it was fantastic. This one is going to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Marvel doesn't seem, so far, to want to really get into horror. We'll see how Doctor Strange turns out. But Blade should be R-rated. Blade should be bloody. Blade should be like the Blade movies we got before. So I'm not convinced yet, and maybe they'll change my mind between now and when Blade comes out, that we're going to get the Blade that we should get as part of the Marvel MCU, because they gear a lot of this towards kids. So I'll be curious to see how Blade plays out. The other issue I have with Blade is the casting. They have casted Mahershala Ali as Blade. He's a wicked actor. The guy is fantastic. His work in Moonlight and Green Book was off the charts. Stuff he did on True Detective was amazing. I don't know. Like, to me, Blade needs to be a badass, and I haven't seen this guy be that much of a badass. Whereas Wesley Snipes, legitimate badass. So I'm just a little curious how it's going to play out. I would love to have seen Wesley come back. Wesley Snipes hasn't aged, so I think he definitely could do it. But going with Mahershala Ali is a smart choice. The guy is a very, very good actor. So I'm not saying it's going to come out bad. Just, I don't know. I could be way too attached to those Wesley Snipes Blade movies because they were so damn good. It's a lot of work to erase those from our memory. So we'll see. They've got their work cut out for them. So while we got all that amazing news from the Marvel camp, and they gave us a lot to look forward to, we did get a little bit of news from DC, even though they pretty much skipped Comic-Con this year. We found out when Titans Season 2 would be premiering on the DC Universe app, and that will be coming on September 6th. So really looking forward to that. The first season was fantastic. And we got confirmation that Doom Patrol has been renewed. We kind of knew that was going to happen, but it's now official. So that is also fantastic news. And that was kind of the biggest news we got out of DC, out of the whole Comic-Con weekend. Shortly after Comic-Con, it was announced that the Joker premiere, the upcoming Joker film, is going to have its worldwide premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival. I've already started to reach out to some people that I know to see if there's any way in hell that I can get myself into a Joker screening at TIFF, because I am itching to see this movie. Very, very curious about the Joker flick. And we got a little bit of horror news over the San Diego Comic-Con weekend. If you have not seen the Halloween reboot that came out last year, you're doing yourself a disservice, because it was amazing. They did a great, great job with it. So much so, in fact, Universal said, don't make one sequel, make 2 sequels. And Jamie Lee Curtis is on board for both of them. So next year, in October of next year, we get Halloween Kills. And then in 2021, we get Halloween Ends, which will cap off their trilogy. By no means do I think it will be the end of Michael Myers. That guy is cinematic gold. So they'll probably rest him for a few years, and then somebody will come along and reboot it again. But very excited to see how this creative team goes forward with the story between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. They did a great job with their first outing. If they can keep that quality up, this will probably go down as the greatest horror trilogy ever. I mean, if they match the quality of the first movie, unquestionably, it'll be the greatest horror trilogy ever. That'll do it for this week. Don't forget, follow us on all our socials. Twitter, at Scotty Mars. On Facebook, it's the page is The Scotty Mars Show. Same on Instagram, at the Scotty Mars Show. You can always reach out to me there, leave a comment, question, suggestion for the show, whatever's on your mind. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe and leave those reviews and comments for us. Definitely helps grow the podcast. And you can also catch us out streaming, blasttheradio.com, Thursday mornings at 8:30 Eastern Time. So until we speak again, have a great week.